What is up, Sign Shop Universe? This is Peter Kourounis with Shopbox, and this video is going to be very interesting. I'm going to do something somewhat different in this one. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. It's not something that I usually do in a lot of these videos. If you're a subscriber to this channel, you kind of know I have a little bit of an agenda, a little bit of a topic that I like to talk about. But in this video, you know, I'm going to answer a particular question by a particular individual who said, you know, I'm having a very difficult time understanding the sign shop industry and understanding how to make it work, how it's supposed to function. And you know what, like, there's a million questions in that to unpack, but I'm going to go on a little bit of rant, so stay tuned here and see what I think might take a struggling sign shop and make them into a prosperous and you know, I guess more or less profitable sign company. So stay tuned. So this person actually asked to stay anonymous, didn't necessarily want to embarrass himself by asking these questions. A lot of times, you know, it takes a little bit of vulnerability to be, you know, to ask these types of questions to your fellow peers. There are sign shop forums on Facebook, and a lot of people are out there looking to help, and I myself are one of them. So I hope that I'm able to reach this person and answer some of your questions. So the question generally is what does it take to operate a successful sign shop? I think the first question that you have to ask is really, what type of sign shop, print shop do you actually want to operate? A lot of times the correct answer to that is actually not being a shop that does everything. That also can be perceived as something more or less as a detriment. Some people look at it as a positive. I'm one of those people that looks at, if you're good at one thing, do it well and specialize in that, and that's what's going to make you successful. Although there are a lot of shops that kind of take on projects that they shouldn't be taking on because they're struggling financially and they need to make a sale, so they'll learn on the job, and that's usually a less desirable outcome for the customer because, you know, you might be the type of sign shop owner that's going to be cutting corners to make a good profit there. But my suggestion here is to kind of find out what type of shop you want to be. Do you want to be a all-in-one shop that does printing, wide format printing, banners, vehicle wraps, electrical signage, fabrication, things like that? Or are you looking to dial that back a little bit and be more of a whatever you can do inside your four walls kind of shop? And by that I mean there's a typical little bit of outsourcing, but you're really not going to take on something that you're unfamiliar with or that you are unexperienced in. And I think that is something that you have to ask and answer before you even unpack the rest of your question there. So once you have that figured out and what type of shop you're going to be, I think you kind of have to stay in your lane, and a lot of it is going to be making sure that you have the right people around you. Now I know that's a cliche, and hiring the right people is a struggle right now in this economy, but the thing is that you're actually going to be a much better shop in the short term and in the long term by surrounding yourself with people that are willing to learn with you. Rather than hiring exceptional, experienced people in the industry that are going to provide you the solution, I think it's good and comfortable for everyone involved to learn as a team, all the wheels running in the same direction. I think that's what's going to make a really successful sign shop in the short term and also in the long term, by doing things together, figuring out the things that you have to remember, the things that are learning, the parts of the learning curve. I mean, I talk to sign shop owners that literally don't call substrates by their right name. They say plastics and acrylics and metals, but they really don't know what gauge or what thickness or what millimeter that they actually are looking for because they're not taking enough time to actually learn the industry. So I think you have to kind of surround yourself with people that are willing to learn with you. That's the first thing. Now, setting up your team is really just the beginning, right? You have to identify key roles in your business that are going to be needed for any type of project. You know, I think you're gonna need to start with some sort of inside salesperson, someone that's gonna really handle all the transactional pieces, all the customer service pieces, and be that project manager on every single job. That person's a very important person. That could be you as the owner or manager. But if that's not you and maybe you're filling another role, that's certainly somebody I would like to start with, is that inside sales person. But no sign shop, no print shop would be able to be successful without having a really good, talented graphic designer. I do want to say something about graphic designers here for a quick second, and that is finding yourself a graphic designer is easy. There are a lot of us out there, but there are not a lot of good ones out there. And that's something that I think you need to stress, is finding yourself a good graphic designer. It's gonna be the linchpin to your success in your business, is getting out good designs. Finding somebody out of high school, finding somebody out of college is great, but I would always look at that role as a junior designer, someone that's gonna learn from somebody that understands how to typeset, understands how to do pre-press, understands how to set up files for wide format printing, understanding how to set up files for CNC routing, laser engraving, using different pieces of software, being able to color match and correctly using the right color profiles in your design. Because a lot of times, when you come out of college and you bring in that graphic designer, I feel like their experience, what they teach in schools, is not really what real life is all about. You use a lot of raster clipped images in their designs, and it's just not gonna come out right looking for wide format printing. So finding a good wide format printer, maybe someone with a little sign shop experience. This might be one of those areas where if they have the experience, I'd be looking to take advantage of that. So that's just like a little rant there about graphic designers, is getting yourself a good one. So that's the second role. And then the third role, and there are more roles, but the third most crucial role here is gonna be your sign maker / installer. I feel like that person can be one person, somebody that's gonna put all the pieces together, take what is on screen, make it become a reality, make the signs, whether they're banners, wide format rigid prints, banner stands, trade show displays, exhibit displays, interior signage, dimensional letters, things like that. Just somebody with a general sense of construction, someone with really good common knowledge of tools and, more or less, the shop tools that we use in the industry. And finding a good person like that is going to be a little challenging, but if you're willing to work with that person and grow with that person, I think that that's going to be there for the long term. And then there's a whole other component to a successful sign shop. So that's the infrastructure. That's finding what type of sign shop you want to be and making sure that you have the right people inside those four walls to take that journey with you. The next part is really just, where are the sales coming from? And it could be challenging. I understand that. I've been a part of a franchise where it was challenging for a lot of people, where you have to invest money into marketing, and not just pay-per-click. I want to say that for everybody out there, pay-per-click may not be your best answer. It may be where your customers lie, but you need a really good sales pipeline process. And I wouldn't really get into this business again without really hampering down a solid foundational process. When a lead comes in, this is what's going to happen. They're going to go through this form. That form is going to go through to my CRM. They're going to get emails. They're going to be added to a list. I'm going to make an automated text. I'm going to get a call out to that person, and we're going to book an appointment, and we're going to, go through that process. I feel like that part, if I could do it all over again and create a new sign company, or if I was just starting out, this is the part I think is like number one when it comes to your foundational success, is setting your shop up for success by having a streamlined, no BS, no cracks in the system kind of sales process. And then having that inside salesperson really take over all of those leads. So at one point or another, that person's going to get on the phone, going to be the principal point of communication. And again, that could be you. So you have to identify as one of the people in these roles here. Where are you going to fit? Are you the CSR, graphic designer, sign maker, installer? Where are you going to be? If you're not one of those people, then you're going to sit back and be a little bit more passive, and you're going to watch all the wheels spin in the right direction. Then, you know, you have to understand that, you know, your business has to carry you and your payroll as well. And that's a little bit of a struggle for a lot of people, is that if they are just trying to run the business and grow the business and scale the business, well, a lot of people do that, but you know, you have to take on some administrative role. You're not the graphic designer, okay, then you're gonna be the one that's gonna install signs. You have to be. You have to, especially if you're starting out. There's not gonna be enough meat on the bone to carry you if you're not in one of those foundational roles in your business. And then, you know, somewhere around your first year, after you've gotten a little bit of knowledge in this business and you're growing and you're kind of understanding the lingo and which vendors to use, and you have a good idea of the type of customer that you're going to be having, well, then I think it's going to be more or less in up to you to hire that outside salesperson. And that might be something that you're always going to be hiring for every day, every year. You're going to have an ad out for this role, because it's such a revolving door until you find that needle in the haystack, that, you know, that one person that you cannot think that you are going to run this business without, because without that person bringing in other avenues of sales, you're really relying on what you can do digitally and what you can do in that foundational process. And sometimes that may be a little bit stagnant, especially during like January, February months of the year. That's going to be a problem. And then, you know, that I mentioned it just now, is really that hub and spoke model of your digital marketing. So you might hire that outside salesperson, you have a really good foundational sales process, but now it's all about bringing in as many leads as you can into that process. And that might really be where you end up in this business, is really that business development role. Because once you have once you're going in the right direction, there is another role and other roles that can come up in this business. It's beyond the core three that I just mentioned. You know, you're going to have your outside sales representatives, your managers, your territory managers, if you will, your call operators, your CSRs, your service technicians. You're going to have a lot of new roles that you can introduce as you scale the business. So let's not like think that, okay, yeah, there are sign companies out there with 15, 20, 30 employees that you have to get there within a short period of time. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So, you know, start your business, grow it, scale it, kind of grow it each year, at least by 15, 20%. And at the end of that, incrementally, you'll be somewhere in where everybody else is right now, in that frame of, how do I get more out of the people that I'm currently servicing, not necessarily bringing on just new business. Hub and spoke model is very interesting there, because as I said before, you might be that person that's got to feed the pipeline. So, you know, we did a couple of videos here on organic marketing traits and 5 marketing tips and things like that. But, you know, feeding your baby, feed the pig. This is something my friend Dina Rosenberg used to say to me all the time, is feed the pig, feed the baby. And I felt like, you know, like that makes a lot of sense when you're in business, and you have to understand that your business thrives on a pipeline. So if it thrives on a pipeline, your job is to bring in more people to that pipeline. So, you know, you're going to have organic methods, paid methods, you're going to have referrals, you're going to have reviews, you're going to actually do all sorts of things like handwritten thank you notes, and you're going to have all sorts of ways to, you know, target business. But I think one of the things that really people forget after their first year is that you actually have a book of business that you can penetrate. So visiting your customers, and I don't mean like on a scheduled basis. I mean actually like walking in and saying, "Hey Tony, it's Peter from the sign shop. How you doing? You know, I haven't seen you in a little bit. How's that sign working out for you? And do you need anything else?" I'm talking about like really getting down to your top 25% of your customers, and also don't forget about your bottom 25% customers, and asking if they need anything else as well. I think that's really going to be a really interesting way to feed your pipeline in the future, is really kind of taking advantage of your book of business, right? You've built it, That's an asset to your business. That's collateral for your business. So why don't you take advantage of it? I really feel like that's something that a lot of sign shops out there, and myself included, who didn't really take advantage of that. Now you might be saying, well, Pete, geez, with all these projects I got going on and installations that are out the door, and if I got people complaining about timelines and I'm behind on production, I have no time to feed the pipeline. You know what my answer is to everybody? Find the time. There's no excuse for this. This is the lifeline of your business. Without it, it doesn't work. So, I've talked to franchisees. I've talked to franchisees of other systems, sign shop owners all across the country. And this is the growing problem, is that not a lot of people actually speak to their customers, and they don't think that they have time. I like to pride myself as someone that's really good at multitasking, and I was always able to find the time. Not always, but I can carve out some time for anybody throughout the week, throughout the day. Maybe I'll plan to go visit 5 new customers this week, and I'll make that happen, especially if I don't have an outside salesperson that's in charge of doing something like that. Like, somebody has to do that. So you need to go ahead and find the time to do that yourself if nobody else is doing it, because that's something that I feel very strongly about in this business, is really taking advantage of your book of business. Those are just the foundational pieces of a successful sign shop. There's a lot more answers to your question, but I really feel like you need to start there. We're doing a 17, 18 minute video here on my rant, and it's really interesting because a lot of people won't watch this, and a lot of people will. And the people that will need to understand that this is something that you have to do in this business. Like, you're getting into the sign business, you have to meet your customers. You have to speak to your customers. You have to, whether it's email blasts, whether it's doing a round, I've seen some people actually do like a round table webinar with their customers, like how you could do better in the community. I've seen some pretty interesting things out there about publishing books, and sign shop owners publishing books about how to run a business in their community. Like, I've seen some pretty outrageous things about how to communicate with people in their own local market, but you actually really don't need to do that much. You really just need to be active in your chamber of commerce, join a networking group, be very active on Nextdoor, Facebook, Instagram, Alignable, LinkedIn, these portals that are, you can post once and it goes everywhere. So you might as well take advantage of technology and social media these days and be very active with your community. Sponsor an event, go to a trade show, go to a local craft fair. I just went to one of Long Island's biggest fall festivals, and it was amazing. I saw friends and family and people that I haven't seen in years, in the last 18 months or so. And it was great. We had such a great time, networking with all the other businesses and having beers and drinks at one place and buying gifts and crafts from another. I mean, getting to know the local businesses that they were struggling during the pandemic, and really connecting with them and wanting to give them business, because they're out there, their families, their parents, they're business owners that, they thrive on this. They need this to work. So, that's my rant here, everybody. I know this was a little bit different of a video, and I won't do too many of these, but my experience in this business has been a great one. I did what I love this business. I've done it for 12 years, and I continue to do it in some shape or form, and I feel like there's a lot that sign shop owners need to understand, and sometimes it just means that you need to get up off your desk, period. A lot of times that's what that means, is someone needs to take a foot and a boot and kick you in the rear end and get you off your desk. Because if you can get out of your desk, then you're going to be active. Then you're going to be proactive. I'm allergic to average, people. I'm allergic to average. So don't be average. Be above average. Get out there and do that little extra. Do that little extra that your local competitor is not doing. That's my biggest advice of how to be successful in this business and how to set up your business for success and profitability. Because if you're really focused on just profitable sales in the moment, sure, it'll happen. And you know what? It happens to everybody. It happens to me. It happens to every single sign shop, is that order is going to come in and you're going to feel like you can breathe. Whew, I can breathe. Nuh-uh. Keep going. Get the next one. Focus on the next one. Focus on the second one, the third one. And then you have something to brag about, that you did $30, $40, $50,000 in business this week because you didn't give up. You followed up. You followed up quickly. You made sure that you got in front of all your customers and you brought in 35 new leads this week. That is what's going to make you successful. So, you know, take it for whatever you want. That's my opinion. That's my rant on the sign shop and print shop industries right now. You have to be allergic to being average, period. I'm Peter Kourounis with Shopbox. Thank you so much for watching this rant. I can't believe I did it. 20 minutes long in this video, and you know, we're already, you know, getting real into the grind of this industry. But that's what this is all about, you know, really kind of just taking advantage of this platform and talking the truth about this business and making sure we provide answers to people out there in this business. So I'm Peter Kourounis with Shopbox. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed this little rant here, and you know, hey, look, stay positive out there, right?